On October 19th, 1987, Indonesia witnessed one of its deadliest railway disasters. Two passenger trains, KA 225 from Rangkas Bitung heading to Jakarta, and KA 220 from Tanah Abang bound for Merak, collided head-on in the Bintaro area of South Jakarta. The crash was catastrophic. Hundreds lost their lives, many instantly, while others were trapped inside the twisted wreckage of mangled steel and shattered glass. Eyewitnesses described the screams, the chaos, and the overwhelming scent of blood and burning iron that hung in the air for days. For the survivors and the families of the victims, the memory never faded. And for the locals living nearby, the tragedy left behind something far darker. Strange sounds, ghostly apparitions, and the restless cries of unseen passengers began haunting the railway. This story takes you into the haunting that followed, told through the eyes of someone who lived close enough to hear the whispers of the dead. I lived in Pesanggerahan, not far from the crash site. In the nights that followed the tragedy, the entire neighborhood seemed cloaked in unease. The railway, once just a noisy lifeline of the city, now felt like an open grave. Neighbors whispered of strange happenings. Some claimed to hear the rumble of a train rushing down the tracks, though nothing ever appeared. Others swore they heard shrieks and cries for help rising from the bushes near the crash site. One night, around 11, I heard it myself. From my bedroom window, a metallic screech echoed in the distance. At first, I thought a late-night train was passing, but when I stepped outside, the tracks were empty. The air was still. Then, through the dim fog, I saw him, a man limping down the railway. His clothes were torn, his body covered in blood, his movements slow, painful. He staggered forward, as if searching for something. I froze. My throat tightened as I tried to call out, but before a sound could escape my lips, he vanished into the mist, leaving nothing behind but silence. I wasn't the only one. The story spread quickly. A food stall owner near the crash site swore that one night, around 10, a weary man sat at his stall. He looked exhausted but alive. The man ordered a cup of hot coffee, sipping it slowly in silence. After a long pause, he whispered, "I just want to go home, but the train hasn't come." The stall owner turned away briefly to fetch something. When he looked back, the man was gone. The coffee cup still sat on the table, but it was empty. Another story came from a local motorcycle taxi driver. He recalled seeing a group of passengers gathered by the roadside near the railway. They looked lost, their clothes old-fashioned, their faces pale. Thinking they needed a ride, he approached, but before he could speak, the entire group faded into thin air, leaving him trembling on his motorbike. And then there was the sound. Many people reported it, the cry of a child echoing at midnight from the tracks. The wailing seemed so real, so desperate, that some even searched the area with flashlights. Yet no one was ever found. The dead, it seemed, were not ready to leave. Curiosity overcame my fear. One night, just past midnight, I took a flashlight and walked along the railway alone. The tracks stretched endlessly into darkness. The air was damp, filled with the scent of rusted iron. My footsteps echoed too loudly, as if I were trespassing on sacred ground. Then I heard it, footsteps ahead of me. I raised my flashlight. A woman stood there, her long black hair cascading over her shoulders. She wore a white skirt, torn and stained with blood. Her back was turned to me. Slowly, she began to walk. Then, as if sensing my presence, she turned. Her face was pale, lifeless, her eyes empty and hollow. She stared straight at me, and in that moment I felt as if she could see through my very soul. My body froze. Then, from behind, I heard the thunderous roar of a train rushing toward me. I spun around. Nothing. The tracks were bare. No lights, no sound, only silence. When I turned back again, the woman was gone. In her place, scattered along the tracks, were white jasmine flowers, their fragrance heavy in the night air. The hauntings never stopped. Locals still avoid walking by the tracks at night. Some believe the victims remain trapped in the moment of the crash, waiting endlessly for a train that will never come. Even train drivers tell their own stories. A retired engineer confessed that during late-night runs, he would sometimes see passengers sitting silently inside otherwise empty carriages. Their faces blurred, their figures faint. When he looked again, the seats were vacant. Today, the railway has been rebuilt. Modern trains pass through daily, carrying thousands of commuters. To the casual eye, it looks like any other track. But for those who remember, the place still carries a weight, an invisible presence. The Bintaro tragedy was not only an accident, It was a wound that never healed. The cries, the apparitions, the restless spirits all remain as echoes of that fateful day. And perhaps, if you walk along those tracks late at night, you might hear it too. The faint rumble of a train that never arrives. The whispers of passengers who never made it home.